Hello and welcome to Macy Cooks. Long time no see. I know, it's been a while. If your summer has been like mine, and I'm guessing it has because we're in a pandemic, then you haven't done much and yet still feel busier than you've ever been. But anyways, on a completely unrelated note, it is fall at my house today, guys. It's 30 and it's snowing.
It is fall at my house today, guys. It's 30 and it's snowing.
But like any good white girl, I put on a scarf, bought some acorn squash, made an iced coffee. Don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice, but it is Dunkin'. Today, we are going to be making the only thing I have been able to think about since it cooled off. Mini pies. So throw on a scarf, grab an iced coffee, let's get baking. You will need 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, a half a cup of cubed chilled butter, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt and sugar. Additionally, we're going to need 6 to 8 tablespoons of very, very, very cold water, which is why it's in the fridge and we'll get it when we need it. Okay, be patient. Grab a food processor, add your flour, your salt, and your sugar, pour in your vegetable oil, and then add your cubed butter. Now you may have to do this in sections if your processor's not big enough. Mine was, so it buffed out. Replace the lid and then begin pulsing until all dry is incorporated. Once you've mixed it for a couple seconds and everything is well incorporated, go ahead and grab your water from the fridge. Turn on the processor and begin adding the water slowly as it will come together very quickly. You'll know it's ready when it's all globbed up and starts coming away from the walls. And then we're going to transfer it into some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for about an hour. Use way more plastic wrap than you need, just ruining our entire ozone layer, and then pop it in the icebox. Oh, no, I'm just cleaning. You don't clean while you're cooking? Why? It makes everything so much easier. Now that we've got our dough chilling, let's move on to the filling. I decided on 2 flavors, peach and blackberry. The good thing about these is you can put pretty much anything in them. You could do apple, you could do strawberry. They're really versatile. Alright, we're gonna move over to the stove. Begin by grabbing whatever pots you got and tossing in some fruit. I split 1 cup of sugar between the 2 fruits that I chose, and then I grabbed some almond extract, splashed it in, added some vanilla, and then I started mixing. Now the good thing about these fillings is you really can just BS them. To be completely honest with you, I've never made a filling for anything that I didn't like because let's face it, it's fruit and sugar, guys. Then just dibble that around. Man, this is a lot of dead space to fill. Why did I do it this way? I sure wish I hadn't procrastinated because I probably had plans for what to say here. Now the next step is super important, and that is to let those puppies cool all the way because right now they are hot as hell and would absolutely destroy the pie crust. So just be patient. Let them cool. It'll take about an hour. Hello and welcome back. It's been an hour, our dough is cool, our fillings have cooled, and we are now going to prep our pan. Also, go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Please grab a stick of butter and start schmutzing that around in there, dibbling it real nice and deep like. Man, this definitely warranted a voiceover. Now that we have sufficiently dibbled, let's move on to the dough, shall we? Dramatically slap that dough on the counter, grab a bench scraper and also your rolling pin, get it all warmed up and ready for the next step. Slice the dough in half. Reserve 1/2 for the next step. Roll out the dough. You want this to be thin because remember these are going inside of a muffin tin and will not bake evenly if they are too thick. Plus it'll take forever to cook and they'll be gross, and who likes that? Nobody. The good thing about this is we're not making a huge round pie, so you don't have to make a perfect circle. You can just roll the dough out. The most important thing is that you want to try to keep it fairly thin. So you have it rolled out and it is about this thick. We are going to take just a standard size glass and begin cutting out circles. Once you have the 12 punched out for the 12 holes on your muffin pan, we're going to roll them out a little bit more so they are slightly thinner and slightly larger. This is extremely similar to my mini galette recipe, which I will link here. Slightly different pie crust, but same technique. Now, once you have all 12 rolled out thin, you can almost see through it. You see? Just kidding, you can't. Transfer them over to the muffin tin. The muffin tin. Once you have all 12 rolled out thin, we're going to transfer them over to the muffin tin. Begin pushing that dough down into the cupcake holder and folding it over on the top. You want to make sure that you have a rim because otherwise it'll slide down in there and it'll spill out everywhere. It's okay if they're touching or overlapping slightly. Once you have the first half of the dough all cut out, shaped, and in the muffin pan, set it in the refrigerator and then repeat that exact same process with your second batch of dough. That's going to be the tops.
Well, I think that's the tops.
Side note, you want to try your very best to not overwork this dough. Don't futz around with it too much and don't let it get too warm, because if you do, it'll become very elastic and difficult to mold. I wanted to include this because, see, I rip it here, and that's not a big deal because this dough is easily smushed back together. So don't fret, just roll it out. It's still going to be delicious. It's still going to be perfect. But look how thin this is. That's really important. Once you have the remaining 12 rolled out and shaped, go back to your muffin tin. Grab your chilled filling and then try to strain out as much juice as you can before dropping it down into the little pan. If you don't, it will sog out the bottom with all the juice and it won't be nice and flaky on the bottom. Once you've filled them up, grab a tiny amount of water and start just kind of smearing that around the sides. That's going to help to ensure that the tops sticks to the bottoms. Now, if you'll notice, I started folding it here, which is really my favorite technique for this. You're essentially grabbing the top layer of dough and folding it underneath the bottom layer, sort of like a fruit roll-up, really. It's kind of hard to describe, but you're grabbing it and then pinching and tucking under. Also, let's just talk about procrastination here. This is really, really hard to do this video 6 months down the road. Guys, don't procrastinate. Can that be all of our goal for 2021? Is to just do something, do it right, and do it right then. Alright, anyways, grab a fork and then start pressing it down. This part ensures again that it doesn't bust open, but it also just makes it pretty cute. Then take the tips and poke them in the center. Again, adorable, but also vents heat and causes them to not deflate. Look, perfect. Okay, once all of our little babies are all tucked in and ready to go, we are going to set them in the refrigerator, plastic wrapped, for about 20 minutes to cool off. Just make sure that your oven is up to temp. One thing I am going to add here is you could egg wash these if you wanted to. I personally like mine to have more of a pale color to them, but you could egg wash them if you want them to be more browned. You could also use some of that syrup that was left over and glaze it across the top. Now, if you're going to do that, wait till the very end because those sugars will scorch. So don't even think about throwing away that syrup because you could easily put it on pancakes or French toast. Or cocktails. You're welcome. What if all my videos were sideways like this? Like it was like a 90s music video and it was just like... I hated that just as much as you did. Anyways, now that our pastries have cooled off and our oven is up to temp, we are going to transfer them into a 400-degree oven for approximately 25 minutes. I'm pretty excited. It has been 25 minutes, and I do not think y'all are ready for how adorable these are. Look at these. Is that not about the cutest thing you've ever seen? There's just not much that's better than pie. Except maybe a tiny pie. Because then you don't even have to feel bad about it. I meant what I said earlier that they could be savory. I don't see why not. I'm kind of thinking, ooh, like crab and cream cheese maybe? I don't know. We're going to have to experiment with that. You really should give these a try because they're extremely delicious, extremely easy, and extremely adorable. Get baking, y'all.